There's something you notice very quickly when you talk to a status long enough. It's not that they don't trust you, it's that they don't trust themselves. Most people think statism is about caring more, or wanting safety, or wanting order. But if you actually listen, really listen, it's about distrust, not just of others, but human agency itself, including their own. Talk to a status about freedom and watch what happens. They won't start with values, they won't start with responsibility, they'll start with fear. They'll say things like, what if people make bad decisions? What if someone does something dangerous? What if nobody stops them? Every argument assumes chaos by default, and here's the key part, they never exclude themselves from that fear. At some point, they always ask a version of this. So, what's stopping people from doing something awful? And that question tells you everything, because embedded inside it is an admission. If I weren't constrained, I don't trust what could happen. They're not describing society, they're describing their mental model of humanity and themselves a part of it. Status assumed behavior comes from command. No rule, no authority, no enforcement, then anything goes. But look around. People don't walk into traffic because they decide not to. People don't harm others because they choose restraint. People cooperate, avoid danger, and respond long before authority shows up. If morality only existed because of law, society would collapse every time enforcement blinked. It doesn't. When a status imagines freedom, they don't picture adults making choices, they picture impulses running wild. They picture themselves unmoored. That's why they need supervision, that's why they need systems, and that's why they need someone else in charge, because self governance feels unsafe to them. This same distrust is exactly why statists have a problem with a free market. A free market doesn't care about intentions, it doesn't care about credentials, it doesn't care about feelings, it reflects reality. It tells you brutally and honestly what your economic output is actually worth to other people, and that terrifies them. Government systems create cushions. Subsidies, regulations, protected industries, guaranteed demand, inflated credentials, all of it artificially props up value. It hides inefficiency, it softens feedback, and it delays failure. The free market removes that cushion, and without it, people are forced to confront something uncomfortable, their real productivity, their real usefulness, and their real contribution. Statists don't fear markets because they're unfair. They fear markets because markets don't lie. They fear being measured without protection. They fear without intervention, the signal will be clear and the answer won't be flattering. So instead of adapting, they demand control. This is why statists love phrases like, the government should do something, someone needs to regulate this, there should be a rule. Responsibility is always move upward. If something goes wrong, it's not a personal failure, it's a systematic one. And that feels comforting, but it comes at a cost. When responsibility is externalized long enough, people forget how to carry it themselves. Choice becomes risk, autonomy becomes danger, freedom becomes something to manage and not something to live, and adulthood quietly disappears. Here's the contradiction at the heart of statism. They don't trust individuals, but they trust institutions made of individuals. They don't trust personal judgment, but they trust collective authority. They don't trust themselves, so they ask to be governed. Freedom requires self trust, not perfection, not infallibility, just the belief that people, including yourself, can choose, act, learn, and live with consequences. When someone demands control over others for safety, listen carefully. What you're hearing isn't concern for society, it's a confession.